Hello folks, I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at the 1940 serial. It's the final one by Flash Gordon, called Flash Gordon Conquers the Universe, and so forth. It was released, and then it was a huge hit of successors, and to the first huge hit, that was a lot of surprise by a lot of folks. It was the first Flash Gordon in 36 was the first science fiction serial. It was typically seen as for kids, not people that would show up in movie theaters and sell out theaters, but it sold out massively, and partly by Universal, the company at the time, marketing both the adults too, and it sold out massively. It was a huge hit. Even theaters that didn't show serials were showing this. It was huge stuff. And then after in the next 5 years, there were almost half of the serials that were done for science fiction stuff. This is a little less. So it was good stuff. Heavily influential then. And it was heavily influential on Star Wars too. And through our modern stuff today. So I'm recording this on 22 on my phone, so I have my notes on my phone. So if I look down there, you'll know what I'm looking at, and so forth. Just as a heads up. All right. So they have three characters that are returning, actors that are returning with the same people, but then they are recasting some. So they're keeping Flash Gordon's Buster Crabbe. Also, they kept Ming the Merciless's Charles Middleton, and Frank and Dr. Zarkov is returning too. All of the other characters that are returning are recast, including love interest Dale Arden. The actress who played her had left her contract with Universal, and she was working for Fox at the time, so they didn't want to bring her back on a long-term deal, because back then you were working for a studio rather than working for a film at a time. So that was sort of what it was like at the time. So she did not come back. She is played by Carol Hughes, a brand new actress with the folks. And she has a different hair color and stuff. It's very, very different build. Ming's daughter, Princess Aura, is also recast and doesn't even look like the same person too. She again has a different hair color, different style of characters, different style of acting, and so forth and such. And that is Carol Hughes was Dale Arden, and then she is Shirley Dean as her actor too. Also coming back are Prince Ferret, who's in the first couple of series, and that is Roland Drew. He doesn't even have the same build, right? Prince Ferret, when doing combat scenes, actually looked like he was somebody who could do combat scenes, but he doesn't even have the same build, so it's a little funny seeing him out there and so forth. There are some new characters that are introduced too, and they're like Dr. Curtis's Captain Ronald, who's in every episode and is Flash Gordon's accomplishment, and then there's some in a few episodes here and there. Including a person who was co-starring, but isn't in every episode. But she was a brand new ingenue in the movie studio, so she was definitely somebody that they wanted to put in there for you folks. So just some context for that. Gone are the annoying comic relief Happy Hapgood. He was so annoying. I'm very happy to see him gone, and that sort of a thing. This is a 12-part rather than a 15-part one from the previous one, or the 13-part one previous one. It's about 100 minutes less, and it comes in just a little under 300 minutes total, whereas the other one was about 400 minutes total. So it's a lot less to take time. It's much faster pace as a result. It doesn't spend time like the previous one, padding out episodes with flashbacks of what happened before, and then you see the scenes and that sort of thing. It's also very, very, very nice too. I'm very glad to see that gone, and so forth. Now, as a reminder, in 1940, this is of its time. For example, the person who plays Ming the Merciless is white and yellow faced, and he has a character in the first couple of episodes, in the first couple of serials. He looked more like a Ming the Merciless outfit, but although this one, the outfit's been changed to more of a military style since he was more of a dictator, and so forth. But he's definitely looking like Fu Manchu, who's a yellow apparel during the time of all the Asian stereotypes and so forth. So this is definitely of its time. So go in if you're interested in it with that mind and such. So just as a heads up. Right, so the play, this is back and set in Mongo. Mongo is the planet that was introduced in the first serial, and has great development in that 13 episode part, and then the next one they go to Mars rather than Mongo, and do some world building there too. And I prefer the world building to Mongo in the first serial than the world building in Mars. Mars is fine too. But this place is very, very different, and probably won't like Flash Gordon purists out there much. The aliens are very different. Their costumes are very different. The world building very, very different, like Arborea, which is Prince Fran's kingdom, now is not as great. It's not mentioned in the first one. There's a lot of world building that's different. Even the alien races are different. So it's very, very different world building. And so if you've just been watching the first one and then you watch the second one, you're fine. But then you go and watch the third one, I'm sure that's very weird. So different actors don't even have the same hair color or build, and then also different world building. It feels a little weird and a little jarring at times. Just as a heads up. Again, their uniforms look like Robin Hood leftovers from another serial or movie or television shows they were just looking around for. They're even armed with bows and arrows, so that's not great either for you folks. And also, unlike previous one, again, this one doesn't have the flashbacks, which is a good thing, and so forth. So overall, I think the pacing here is much better than the previous one, which I gave a 7 out of 10 to. And I like the action scenes too. And again, they got rid of Happy Hapgood from the previous one. Also great stuff too. But I don't like the world building, the costumes, and way too many recasts. So it's going to be a 6.5 out of 10 for you folks. Now, as a reminder, serials at this were a product of the time and were very, very important during the era. For example, you would oftentimes show up, because they had cliffhangers, literally, that's what the term comes from, in 15 or 20 minute parts that are very, very fast and very, very adaptable. And then kept people coming to the movies rather than the movies themselves. So, for example, you might show up, and all your community would show up too, at for a Saturday serial, for example, the date that this is getting published, and then you might end up, spending some time for some trailers, not that many at the time, or cartoons or newsreels, then a movie, then maybe one of your two serials, and then intermission, and then the B movie would start again with your second half after intermission, a much shorter one. Another serial will wrap things up, some more shorts. You might spend like half your day at the movies rather than just a couple of hours with some trailers that we have in our modern era, and maybe some ads if you're early. Right, it's a very, very different movie-going experience, and the movie serial is a lost art. So I like to bring it back because it was heavily influential again on our modern stuff. And it's oftentimes a forgotten genre for you folks. I'll link you to in the comments below for Flash Gordon Conquers the Universe from 1940. Once again, 6.5 out of 10. As a reminder, this channel likes to unpack older things for you folks. That's where its talk comes from. And this is definitely a lot of work that's heavily influential. People might not have gotten through. Also, this introduces the side scrolls at the beginning of each episode that Star Wars copied. It was in the first two Flash Gordon serials, just as heads up. That side scrolling that does it, that gets you caught up with either what's happened before this movie or just world building generally. They follow other things have followed since. Just a heads up. All right, so there you are, 6.5 out of 10 for you folks. Have you watched it? If so, what'd you think about it? Let's talk about it more in your comments below. And if you agree or disagree with my 6.5 out of 10, let's talk about that too. If you enjoyed this, why not hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon if you're feeling frisky, and be notified of my videos. And then also tell your friends, particularly Flash Gordon, Star Wars, or science fiction genres, or serial fans too. And then finally, I just want to pause and take a moment just to thank you so much just for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video, because we all have so many things, right, that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.